Let's talk about the psychology of why it is that sometimes your friends aren't happy for you. Why is it that it's easier to feel envy towards a friend compared to a stranger? What is envy exactly? It's when someone has something you want and you end up feeling inadequate or even resentful of that person. By the way, if you're interested in learning about how psychological theories can help you with your relationships and life in general, please remember to subscribe. To start off, let's talk about a story. So I was in my mid-20s when, in one particular week, I was offered both a PhD scholarship in stats and a lecturing role. When I announced my good news to the academics that I worked with, a lot of them just looked so genuinely happy for me. I remember this one academic who said to me, "That is just the best news I've heard all week." Interestingly, when I announced my good news to this person whom I used to be friends with at the time, I noticed something a little bit different. So I told her my good news, and for a fraction of a second, I just saw this look of complete sadness on her face. This was a micro-expression. If you don't know about micro-expressions, they last for just a fraction of a second, and they are well worth paying attention to because it's kind of like an involuntary leakage of what the person is actually feeling. Following on from that look of sadness, she then did give me a smile, but it looked really forced. This says to me that this person had a hard time just genuinely feeling happy for me. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about some of the hidden signs of envy, what causes your friends to be envious of you, and how to tell if a friendship can survive envy. So what are the hidden signs of envy? The first one is, as I said before, a micro-expression of sadness when you reveal your good news to your friend. And remember, micro-expressions last for just a fraction of a second, so you have to be very attentive. And if they do smile at your news, does the smile look genuine or does it look forced? With a forced smile, this is when the person is smiling just with their mouth, kind of like this. It's also known as a polite smile, basically because you're not smiling because you're genuinely happy, you're only smiling just because you don't want to appear unfriendly to other people. With a genuine smile though, this is when the person smiles with more of their facial muscles. You'll be able to see their eyes squint a little bit and also crow's feet around the eyes. What else? Well, we're talking about someone who has uncomfortable feelings about your success. This means that they're going to try avoiding these uncomfortable feelings as much as possible, which they'll likely do by trying to avoid talking to you about your success. So you might find that they don't bring up your success in conversation, or when it does come up in conversation, you might find that this person changes the topic or they just don't engage. An interesting exception might be that you're talking about a negative aspect of your success and it's only then that they appear to be interested. Maybe that promotion didn't work out well for you. Maybe the hours are long and it's a lot of stress. Or maybe you thought you had found Mr. Right except that things didn't work out. If they're not just envious of you, but they're also resentful towards you, you might find that they're also giving you backhanded compliments, or they're talking about your success in a way that downplays the excitement and focuses on the negatives. This is because they want you and your success to seem less impressive and therefore less threatening to them. What causes envy? To understand envy, you have to understand social comparison theory. We all have an innate need to continually evaluate ourselves. This is what forms our self-esteem. Am I smart? Am I liked by other people? Am I funny? Do I like my job? Sometimes when we ask ourselves these questions, we have objective information we can use, such as whether you failed or passed a test, or whether you did get that job that you applied for. But sometimes we don't have that objective information. That's when we start comparing ourselves to others. But we don't just compare ourselves to anyone. We tend to compare ourselves to other people with similar characteristics, such as age, profession, or a similar background. This is so we can get a more accurate self-assessment. And so, parents tend to compare themselves to other parents they know. Teenagers tend to compare their physical attractiveness to that of their friends. And at work, you tend to compare yourself to people who are approximately at the same level as you. If, for instance, you're in a junior role, you're obviously not going to compare yourself to your CEO. And this, by the way, is why it can be easier for you to feel happier for a stranger compared to a friend. You know when you're learning about someone successful and you feel inspired rather than threatened by their success. This is because this isn't necessarily someone that you would compare yourself to socially. There are two different ways in which you can compare yourself to someone. The first is a downward comparison. This is when you compare yourself to someone who you perceive as being worse off than you, and this is something that can boost your self-esteem. The other type of comparison is an upward comparison. This is when you compare yourself to someone who you perceive as being better than you. This can be a good thing if it motivates you to improve on yourself in some way, but it can be a bad thing if it leads to feelings of inadequacy and, even worse, resentment. So how does all of this come together? Well, something good happens to you. This triggers your friend to compare themselves to you. It's an upward comparison, meaning that they perceive you as being better off than them. And this ultimately results in them feeling a bit inadequate about themselves, and this is what can cause your friend to feel envious of you. To top it off, there are some additional factors that can make their envy even worse. So, for instance, if they think that you've had an unfair advantage, if they have low self-esteem, if they lack empathy, if they have low emotional intelligence. On emotional intelligence, some people are very good at picking up on their envy, and they're aware that they don't want their envy to impact on the friendship, whereas there are others who don't confront their feelings of envy and they let it harm the friendship. So, should you stop being friends with someone because they feel envious towards you? No, because it's human nature, and to be honest, you're probably guilty of this yourself, where at some point in your life it was you who was feeling a bit of envy towards a friend. And there is, of course, that it is not necessarily the case that your friend doesn't want good things to happen to you. Sometimes their envy is just a sign that they're feeling a bit sad for themselves. If you have a friend who you think is envious of you, what you need to look out for is how they manage their envy. If they still make an effort to appear happy for you, or better yet, they are honest with you about how they're happy for you, but they're just feeling a bit sad for themselves, this sounds like they are genuinely trying to be a good friend. You might have noticed that ever since you shared your good news with your friend, they seem to have become a bit distant. It might just be the case that they just need a bit of time to work through their sadness. What does it mean if they no longer want to be friends with you after you've shared your good news? Well, this is a sign that they feel more sad for themselves than they feel happy for you. As I hinted at before, this could be for a variety of reasons, such as low self-esteem, or they're just not good at confronting or addressing their feelings of resentment. What if you're the one feeling the envy? First of all, try to use your envy to give you some kind of guidance on what it is that you're feeling inadequate about. Next, is there any kind of self-improvement you can do to address this feeling of inadequacy? Could you work harder, study more, exercise more, whatever it is? If not, and especially if that feeling of inadequacy is quite a lot for you, you may need to talk to your friend about it and just let them know that you do feel happy for them. It's just that you're feeling a bit bummed out for yourself, and so maybe you just need a bit of time to work through that sadness. Whatever you choose to do, try to remember that being resentful of your friend is not going to get you what you want. But of course, every case of friendship envy is unique and has its own complexities. I would love to hear your own stories in the comment section below. I have to say, if you happen to have that friend in your life where you have certain things that they want for themselves and they're still genuinely trying to be the most supportive friend that they can be to you, they sound really awesome, and I hope you hold on to them. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys.